we talk a lot about knowing what motivates people, knowing motivations for our clients. So we already know they're motivated by safety and security. They want to avoid conflict, and they genuinely appreciate recognition for their loyalty and dependability. So like what Matt did to basically thank them for sticking around and showing them what he's going to do differently, that really, I'm sure that really stuck with them. And we can see that obviously he's gotten a ton of referrals from them for his honesty and for appreciating them for that. So some good things to keep in mind. So how to work with an S. So the sooner they feel comfortable with you, the sooner they'll open up to you. We know that they're slower to open up. So it's really important for you to genuinely show that you're interested in them as a person and that you don't just see them as a transaction. So these people need to feel safe with you. They often need help getting started with tasks, but they will see them to completion. And they also need time to process and ask questions. So this is an important place to pause a lot in your presentations. Do you have questions about this? Do you have concerns about this? What do you think about this, right? So that way they can voice their opinions before they become internal conflicts, right? So you're kind of seeing that as a way to mitigate that before it happens. They're also, you want to give them specifics and clarifications and explain the how questions. Like S's want to know how something is going to happen, right? That will alleviate stress for them. They don't care as much about the what, but how is this going to get there? So your explanations and your presentation should be a lot of surrounding the how questions and answering those for them. So obviously S is a good way to remember. They want to be safe, they want to be sure, and they want to be secure. So what to avoid when working with an S? So some things not to do. We don't want to expect or force them to make decisions quickly. So this doesn't mean that we can't ask them to work with us or we can't ask for the business, though. That's not the same thing. But you're tailoring your expectations to the timeliness of when they're going to decide that. So a good thing to do for these people is proactively let them know that you will be asking them to work with you. An example of this for scripting, let's say you're setting the appointment, you want to meet with them, you are explaining why you're meeting. Hey, we're going to walk through the whole process of how to buy a property. I'm going to, do some intake on what's really important to you. And if all makes sense, I'm going to ask, I have some paperwork for us to activate the next steps, right? Okay, cool. Now, at least in their brain, before you even meet, you've set the expectation that, hey, I'm going to be sending you some paperwork, right? It's not a surprise. It's not a decision now that they have to make for the first time. They've already thought about this. So priming them for what's to come is a great way to make sure that you are still able to ask for that business without having it become a negative or an objection or a conflict once they're there, right? You've given them that time to process and you've set that expectation of what's going to happen, right? We want to avoid being confrontational. So being overly aggressive, pushy, or demanding. So if you're somebody who has a lot of D in your profile, you're going to have to be very aware of your body language and aware of how you're coming off to them, right? So they would rather have somebody be more of a friend than somebody who's more of like a business consultant, right? They want to feel safe with you. So being more friendly, being more informal is going to work great for them. And we know this, they avoid confrontation and will recoil if approached in this way, right? So recently I reviewed an appointment where it was somebody who was working with a high S, and this agent told them that they wouldn't be able to search for off-market properties if they didn't sign the VIP. These were great clients. They were pre-approved. They had, they were ready to go, but they were very much turned off by this. If you don't do this, then we can't do this. And they didn't want to work with us anymore. So that could have been avoided if we had, more come from contribution and said, hey, this is something that we offer. I want to make sure that we do this for you and you're protected from, all these multiple offer situations. I'd love to be able to ask for off-market, look for off-market properties for you. We can do this by activating the next steps, right? But because this agent, it's an honest mistake, right? They were trying to move things along, but with working with a high S, that was something they didn't like. So it's important that we focus more on the benefits of our services rather than give them a hard ultimatum or they're not going to want to work with us.